Okay, I realized in previous videos I said I wasn't going to talk about this anymore. I probably did, or I probably didn't. I don't remember. But um the reason why I'm making this video is because of a comment in particular that I just recently got, right? And it wasn't out of any ill intent. I realized that. Uh Shout out to KZIA Kaz. Can't remember. I can't really pronounce that right if I could. Um, they said something that really kind of stuck with me, and it's because it's something that I have been discussing with the Rather brothers and a good friend of mine named Arrow, concerning the uh the events regarding Pokemon. And it was something like, this is nothing new. This is something that has been a long and ongoing conversation between me and the Ryder brothers and Arrow, concerning the latest news, not only from this year, from last year as well, and how it's just been spiraling down, and things have just been basically just been pointed out in various amount of times. And it's the fact that because of the incompetence and just the blatant disrespect and arrogance that the Pokemon Company has for its fans, for that reason and for that reason alone, is why I am no longer a Pokemon fan. Now I know what people are gonna say. Rio, well, you can't just write the franchise out all on a particular, like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I like I still like Pokemon and Digimon, or whatever. And now, you know what? That's honestly fine. But I'll tell you this right now. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. The comment that I had gotten talking about I'm having fun, especially after declaring independence for Pokemon, kind of struck with me because it's not independence. I'm gonna break this down for anybody who's listening. Before Palworld had came out, I was having issues concerning the quality, storytelling, and the improvement on lore and the fan theories of Pokemon that people have been coming up with for decades now. And because of that, the Pokemon company themselves have not. And I told Urban Ninja this. You guys can look it up. There has been no official statements regarding the lore mysteries behind the unknown, behind the legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, and their origin. We had to get a leak concerning all of that. Leaks concerning all of that. Regarding Celebi, regarding Deoxys, regarding the whole thing regarding Pokemon Z, and how Zygarde got shafted, and the whole thing with N getting his a good chunk of his lore and background story being cut in half and lost in files that were kept. And the only reason why we know of it now is because of a leak. A leak from the company by an accident. During this time, of the awaiting of Palworld and things of that nature, I was going back and forth with certain Pokemon fans on X, mainly Twitter. Uh, Honestly, just that in general, and sometimes on my Instagram concerning people who would follow me that was showing things regarding Pokemon and them just honestly not getting it. This is the reason why I was done. Give me 1 second, my tea's ready. Here's my tea. Back to what I'm saying. I have been getting very frustrated. I was getting very frustrated in regards to the quality, story lore, and just the improvement and what they can do literally better of Pokemon. Hell, even back then, y'all saw it. For the people who are still being who have been subscribed to me for this long time, I made a video literally going off at Game Freak because I blamed them at one point. I took the video down, but I blamed them for the incompetence and the quality and the just the story lore about the Pokemon world. And now it's come out after all this time. Game Freak isn't at vault. And you cannot keep on saying it's Nintendo's fault. Yes, Nintendo is a partner company with the Pokemon company, but the Pokemon company, and I need you guys to understand this, is an independent company. They are their own company. They work with Nintendo. They work with Nintendo. They are not under Nintendo. They work with Nintendo. The Pokemon Company is a juggernaut brand. And the only reason why it's become that is because of us. Because it was, and I said this in the previous video concerning Digimon and Pokemon. The only reason why Digimon even lasted that long is because it had gotten less advertising and PR campaigns and money invested less than what Pokemon did. Pokemon had gotten more of the support, more of the commercials, more of the PR campaigns, more of the funding, more of the money, more of our money. That's the reason why it even skyrocketed when we were kids, because we were impressionable and it was easy to pick up. Back then, it was hard for Digimon, but for anyone to know that, hey, there's a Digimon game coming out. Oh, hey, Digimon has this coming out. That. If you didn't know that, you couldn't have known, including me. I couldn't find any Digimon cards around when I was little. It was nothing but Pokemon surrounding me. Cards, toys, merchandise, video games. It was all over. And that isn't anybody whining and crying. That is the literal truth. That's what happened. It was the same thing with Power Rangers. It skyrocketed. It was everywhere. It was easily accessible. You could just pick it up no matter what. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the reason why I am not and no longer a Pokemon fan, and why my 30 long career as a Pokemon fan is done as of last year and will not be returning. Because the Pokemon Company has proven to me as a veteran Pokemon fan, a former Pokemon fan, as a veteran former Pokemon fan, that it is not worth it at all. They are beyond help. And the reason why I say Game Freak is not in fault anymore is because we now see what Game Freak is capable of. For the longest kind of time, people were blaming Game Freak for the lack of creativity and quality and just outright just the umph. You know what I'm saying? As far as Pokemon games were given. It was lacking. It was lacking a lot. And we blamed Game Freak for it. Whole time, Game Freak was not the ones at fault. They weren't the ones that were pulling the strings. It was the Pokemon Company. And why do I say that now? Because we see Game Freak coming up with a whole new game that looks entire night and day. If you had looked at the game that they introduced, that they're making now, away from the Pokemon Company versus what Legend ZA looks like, you would think that they wouldn't even be working together. You would think that they wouldn't even be working together, but they are. But they are. And for anyone that is choosing to come up with some BS saying that that's not true, you're part of the problem. Even before Palworld had made its impact on the world, Pokemon has been on a decline. And that is not an exaggeration. It has been on a decline. And at this point, I don't even think the video games can save them. Yeah, sure, it's going to make them money. Because there's still millions of impressionable Pokemon fans, diehard Pokemon fans, that will eat that shit up the moment it drops. So that's not surprising. What is surprising, though, is those same fans trying to figure out as to why people have a problem now with Pokemon. It's because we've been given something that we've been asking for outside of Pokemon. And on top of that, the leaks did not help. The leaks concerning what Pokemon had in its storage that they just did not want to pursue, it was damaging. It was completely damaging. And I don't need to send screenshots on here in order for y'all to understand this. It was literally all over the internet. Yeah, sure, it's old news now, but it's not old news to me. And it's not something that I'm going to let go. Because that was the truth. All of the lore, all of the quality, all of the ideas, the good ideas, the things that I was asking for was all in those documents that was released. That was not released, but leaked. Because somebody hacked their system and not only let out the employees' information, but all of their plans that they had scrapped. All their plans. Now, we have been leaked of various betas before about gold, about ruby and sapphire and things like that, but this answered my questions. It answered my question. That was an answer to my question that I was asking for a decade. For a decade, I was asking, why aren't we getting this? Why aren't we getting that? Hey, it's so easy for them to do this. Why don't they do that? They did, and then they took it and just said, no. Not enough space. Not enough time. But it was already there. Gift wrapped it for us. The fact that they had an Eevee Evolution just sitting there on an office desk collecting dust was more like a spat in my face. Because for the longest kind of time, diehard Pokemon fans were saying that that you would be a fool to be asking for more Eevee evolutions. That it wouldn't make sense for the Pokemon Company to display more Eevee evolutions, come up with more evolutions. Well, they had one. They had one. And the only reason why they didn't release it is because they didn't want to pay the people that came up with it first. That was all over the internet. Because in their mind, it was too close of a design. Can you imagine that? Can we imagine the reason why we didn't get a flying type EV evolution is because of the fact of fan art that was made before they came up with the idea. They couldn't pay the person, the people, or even like ask how did they come up with this idea. Now, just leave it on an office desk. Doesn't matter. It matters not, right? And then we get Palworld. We then get Palworld. And what happens? Pokemon fans, yet again, have proven that they are a one-track mind. I'm gonna say this with my whole chest. The only reason why we're having this lawsuit with the Pokemon company and Pocket Pair is because of the Pokemon fans bitching and whining about them taking the ideas from Pokemon. Diehard fans giving two shits of a rat's ass about a juggernaut company that's going to make money regardless of what anything or anybody says or does, got upset because another Monster Tamer franchise looked similar to them out of inspiration. And now we're dealing with this stupid lawsuit that's costing them way more money than what they care to. And now it's not even a copyright issue, which is the most laughable thing because that's what people were whining and complaining about, the copyright and why it looks so similar. No, this has things to do with patent. Things that people weren't even complaining about. So thank you, Pokemon fans, for doing that. I appreciate you for doing that, for revealing that even now, after all of this time of y'all whining and complaining about each generation and their stars and how they just don't look right, and how y'all love to go back to Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, and just praise it to the gods. Meanwhile, excluding Gen 5 because you still hate Gen 5 for some stupid reason, having mental gymnastics with Gen 6, whether you you want to like it or you don't want to like it anymore. Glaze Alola like it was the best thing that ever happened. Meanwhile, the Alola region was subpar at best, and it could have been better. But because of the Pokemon Company's incompetence, we got what we got. And then we get to Sword and Shield, where y'all had a whole bitch fit about the national decks and how their starters didn't look right. And then we got to Scarlet and Violet. The thing that actually, in all intents and purposes, revealed the true issues with the Pokemon Company and their vision. Hmm. Meanwhile, we have Palworld still making strides to do their own thing. Still, is Pokemon doing that? No. Y'all can say that it's not. It's not. Coming up with a T with a green T Pokemon is not making strides. Doing the same thing over and over again is not making strides. Creating a open world kind of game where you're literally compact in one city isn't making strides. And then going back to the very thing that you doubled down on, saying that you weren't going to introduce it again. But now, because of the fact that you guys know that you have to do it, because if you don't, you're going to fail, now you bring back Mega Evolutions. Giving evolutions to Pokemon that should have gotten it beforehand, but you didn't want nothing to do with that at first. That's another thing. I will never forgive the Pokemon Company for what they did to X and Y. I will never forgive them. X and Y could have been better than what they introduced. X and Y is an incomplete game. It's incomplete. They literally had plans for Pokemon Z. And because they just ditched the whole idea entirely, because they claimed there wasn't enough space for what they were asking for to be put on Z, we had gotten Sun and Moon instead, and Zygarde being shafted, along with the other legendaries who got shafted, that only got, hell, if I want to be real, they got revealed through a hack, through hacking into X and Y. And months later, getting codes for these different types of mons, and never like a an I'm sorry. Let me drink my tea. Speaking too much. They never got their own shine. That also bothered me. Why even create legendaries and these different kinds of mythical Pokemon if you weren't going to put the shine on them? I never understood that. What was the reason for that? What even is the reason? I've always wanted to understand that. What was the reason for introducing the first fire water type and it being legendary and only to have be available from a code? From an event code? On top of Diancie, and then the mechanical version of that, which I'm not going to pronounce the name because it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant at this point. You guys can't come up with a better excuse as to what the Pokemon Company is failing to do. And the sad thing is, the only thing that I ever asked was better quality, and not what you wrote, what you thought. When I mean better quality, I'm not talking about graphics. I'm talking about story. I'm talking about what the lore, the mysteries of the Pokemon behind everything. Actual story lore about these legendaries that you keep pushing out to us. The characters that you introduce, be really into, really giving these passionate stories. But no, you don't give us that. You want to know what happens? A freaking fan-made animation does it better than y'all. Introduced the story of Pokemon from the beginning of Red all the way to Gold, and incrementing everything else into that story, making it the best it could possibly be. And where did it come from? A YouTuber by the name of Pedro Arujo. And shout out to him, and I hope he's doing better with his content, because he was stressing over the fact that his Pokemon fan made videos weren't really getting that much traction on YouTube. And it's funny because the very thing that people were whining and complaining about the Pokemon doing, he gave us that. But it didn't get that much viewership. Why? I wonder why. Why is that? Why would the Pokemon fans not be magnetized to a fight between Typhlosion, a sky fight A sky battle between Typhlosion and Charizard for the gold final. An epilogue. Why wasn't that the biggest thing ever from Pokemon fans to witness? Oh, I know why. I know why. Because it's not coming from the Pokemon Company. Because it's not introducing the next gen. Because it's not giving you your little remakes that are actually subpar. Shout out to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Because it's not Legend ZA. Shout out to that as well. Where it's literally, a person said this in the article that I wrote, a PS2 demo. But y'all accept that. Guess what? Not me. Not me. I wish you would. I wish you would put that in my face and tell me to just accept that. Huh? And then, if matters didn't really make it blatantly obvious that Pokemon was lacking, we then get the very game that I was wanting ever since me, Master Zen, and Urban Ninja did that video concerning the Olympus 12 and the story. And the game that got shafted, that got canceled because of whatever reasons from Bandai Namco. We are now getting a game of the Digimon world, of the digital world Iliad, and the whole story regarding Agiosmon. The very game that I wanted, I am getting this October. And it looks beautiful. And it's everything that I asked for. Everything that I wanted. And I need you to understand, the moment that game drops, my life is over. I will be non-existent to the world after that point. Because everything else, my wants as a fan, have been met outside of this brand, of the Pokemon brand. And for that reason alone, is the reason why I cannot even have a fraction of care about what the Pokemon Company does at this point. Hell, it's gotten to the point where I don't even want to play the ROM hacks anymore because I don't want nothing to do with that franchise. Because the quality, they are blatantly choosing to just make it be subpar. And yeah, somebody in this in the comments is going to say, well, I mean, the anime is good and everything. Shut up. No, seriously, shut up. It's not. I watched it. Okay, I gave it a go before I did anything. I didn't like it. I did not like it. After the whole thing regarding Ash finishing his journey and him not coming back, and then the whole opening statement regarding all of the leaks about what the Pokemon Company was going to do, then coming to find out the real official reason as to why they did Ash the way they did, is because they were afraid that people weren't going to watch anymore. So they just dragged along this dead corpse of Ash, going through each region, losing each region because they wanted to keep marketing to kids and them to keep, for the kids to keep buying into the fact that keep on trying and have this emotional attachment with Pokemon. I kid you not. The director before, I believe it was Ken Sugimori. Was it Ken Sugimori? Was it another another a person that has made that statement. They were aiming to have all of us from they acknowledged the older fans, but they basically said that they appreciate the fans of old, but they want everyone. They're targeting everyone to have this emotional attachment with Pokemon, and that their aim is towards the future. And that's why they did what they did regarding Ash, and why they honestly cannot do anything else with him anymore, because they literally have nothing else to do. Where in hindsight, all they had to do was turn to the mangas, where each region had their own character trainer. Y'all did a whole POV regarding Red and his adventures. Why couldn't you do the same thing with Gold? Why couldn't you do the same thing with with Ruby? Why couldn't you do the same thing with freaking Diamond and Pearl? Why couldn't you do the same thing with Black and White? Why couldn't you do the same thing with X and Y? Why couldn't you do the same thing with Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Legends Arceus? Why couldn't you do that? Instead, you give us a series about a girl and the latest region starter going around on some airship with this rogue, I want to say professor, and a Pikachu with a captain's hat on, and thinking that that was gonna be the most amazing thing. The people who bought that, I swear, something has to be mentally. Some of y'all may need some mental evaluation, thinking that that was actually quality storytelling content, because I was bored out of my goddamn mind with it. I was so bored. I was so bored because they were doing the very same thing that they did to Ash. Except in this case, the main character isn't collecting the badges. They're just having this powwow, the slice of life with Pokemon. And while in all aspects, when if I was younger, I would have been okay with that. But now, no. But I guess that's what that is then, because they did say they were going to be talking towards children. So maybe I guess maybe children will enjoy it better than I will. Regardless of that, even now with the cards, the whole card situation, you can't even find Pokemon cards anymore. And why is that? Because of toxic fans and the scalpers who are literally fighting people and literally stabbing people and banking people over cards. And again, the same thing is happening. Like I said with Pokemon and Digimon. Digimon right now, their card game is actually booming. But the only reason why we don't find the stores at all, really, and that's rare, because it's rare to pick up. It's not like the Digimon card game isn't popular. It's growing. It's actually growing in popularity. But the problem is, the only way that you could possibly get it is either online or through various other means. And that is sad, but that goes right back to what we were saying. Digimon keeps getting the short end of the stick because it's not getting that much push. And it deserves that much push because their quality and lore and storytelling is actually and quite honestly more top tier than what I have been experiencing with Pokemon. And you know what? Outside of that, Beyblade did what did phenomenally well. Yu-Gi-Oh did phenomenally well. But Pokemon has this edge on where with them where they feel as though they should be the number one monster tamer genre, monster tamer franchise. And everyone else that even tries to be in that same ballpark should take a back seat and get sued to all hell from success because of success. It's not right. I know it's not right. Y'all know it's not right. But I know some unhinged Pokemon fan is going to come on here and say that I'm wrong about everything that I've said. Said that it is not that serious, it is not that deep, and if you're not a fan anymore, why talk about it? Because I keep getting people like you DMing me, not only in my comments, but also in my other social medias, talking about Pokemon and asking me to do videos about Pokemon. And I don't have the energy, nor the want, or the care for it at all. When I told y'all I was done, I'm done. I am 33 years old. I can do a lot of more things with my time than keep talking about this franchise, this brand. And I'm going to do a lot more with this. Hell, for the what here's you know what? I'm gonna start doing this. Every time I get a comment talking about could you do this with Pokemon, could you do that with Pokemon, you wanna know what I'm gonna do? I'm not even gonna respond in a negative way. I'm not, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to just do Digimon content. Digimon videos. For every time someone talks about Pokemon, and every time I get a notification regarding Pokemon, you know what we're gonna be doing? Digimon videos. Videos concerning the new digital world. Videos concerning the card game. Videos concerning the story of Digimon. Articles talking about the game. New information talking about the new anime. New information talking about the new Digimon. I'm just going to start doing that now. Because I want Digimon to be better. I want Digimon to keep getting this traction that it deserves. Because it deserved it a long time ago. I used to be angry and mad at the Pokemon Company for the fact that they just shafted us like that. But now, I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm not mad. What I am trying to do is just move on from it and do things outside of it. And hopefully one day my prayers will be answered and Digimon will be much more of a well-seen franchise than what it is now. Not to say that it's a bad thing going forward, but more people should know about it. I still get comments to this very day saying that, oh, what's this? They got a new game coming out, and I was like, yeah, they got a new game coming out. They got cards too. You should look at them. You should give it a chance instead of giving Pokemon all of your love, effort, and money. That's all I'm saying. That's literally all I'm saying. I didn't mean to make this a long ramble, but I needed to get that off my chest because I've been pondering it and pondering it and thinking about it for weeks now. And given all the information that I've accumulated, that I'm honestly trying to unlearn. Yes, I am currently in the process of unlearning every single thing regarding Pokemon as of a few months ago. Because I feel like that part of my brain should be cluttered with something better. better quality, better quality shows, storytelling. Maybe another video I'm gonna be talking more about Digimon and why I said what I said regarding to the story, the characters and everything like that, because I genuinely believe it. Hell, even outside of Digimon, other franchises and their shows have a much better story than Pokemon. Pokemon is not the be all end all. It's not this grandstand of a show. Yeah, back in the day it was like that, but guess what? The only reason why it felt like that is because we were watching it. A lot of us have checked out. Even after Gen 2, and I keep getting those comments. After Gen 2 or Gen 3, people checked out. The people didn't watch it the way it was implied. People didn't give it a chance after that. And why would they? Why would they be like me, who's watched every season, every Pokemon movie, collected almost every damn card, got to the point where I had went to conventions solely searching for Pokemon, going to Otakons specifically for Pokemon, to battle, to do this, that, and the third, to only collect Pokemon shit, which was honestly toxic if I wanna be to be frank, to the point where I literally lost one of my friendships because the only thing that they knew me of was Pokemon knowledge. And it's not even their fault because back then I kept saying if it wasn't about Pokemon, I didn't want to talk. And I should have never said that. And I regret to this very day that I even said that crap. But of course, naturally, I couldn't have known what was going to be ahead, what I was going to uncover and find out. And now at my big age of 33, I'm disappointed. Not only in them, but in myself for even staying that long. For even staying that long and trying to have hope that maybe they'll probably change. They'll probably see light at the end of the end of the tunnel. We're actually probably gonna get the things that we're asking for. No, you're gonna get bits and pieces of what you asked for. You're not gonna get the whole sandwich. You're gonna get a slab of meat, well, one slice of meat, and maybe the back piece of the bread. But other than that, that's it. You're not getting any cheese. You're not getting any lettuce. You're not getting any tomato. You're not getting the condiments. You're literally getting scraps. And I'm hungry. I want more than scraps. I want a whole goddamn sandwich. For those of you that didn't understand that metaphor, I'm talking about how Pokemon literally keeps giving me little bits and pieces of what I've been wanting. Whereas outside of that, I'm getting a whole course meal, uncovering things that I didn't know about, being blown away by lore, by stories. This video has gone on long enough. What I'm trying to say is I'm done. I'm just going to say it for the final time. I'm done. I appreciate the people who give their insight. I really do. And yes, it's very contradictory that I'm saying this now and I've done videos concerning Pokemon and animations that Pedro Arujo has had. And I'm going to say this right now. That is the exception to the rule. I'm only accepting that. The day Pedro decides to make anime concerning Digimon, guess what? those Pokemon videos might just go private. That's all I gotta say. They might just go private. Hell, I may even take a step further and just ask him, would he be interested in doing animations concerning Digimon? Would he be interested in animation concerning Digimon World 1 or Digimon Adventure? Would he be interested in something like that? Doesn't hurt to ask. But I'm tired. I need to drink my tea and get some clarity. Y'all have a good day. Stay safe. Don't don't be like me. Okay? Don't be like me. I had my wake up call last year on a lot of things. Okay? Don't be like me, a diehard fan that had to literally wake up from the wool being pulled over his eyes, from his eyes, and seeing the actual truth for what it is. I'm not going to easily just go back. No, I'm not going back at all. I'm staying put where I am. Y'all can stay over there. I'm not. Sorry. Oh my God. My eyes twitching. This has been Master Sakurai. I love y'all. I will see y'all again next time. Peace.